We want to welcome everyone. We are Duluth Public Schools ISD 709. It is September 19th. It is 6:30. This is our monthly school board meeting. This is where we conduct important business with our board members and our administration. This is the time where we vote and we hear resolutions and we do the business of the school district at a public meeting. So I welcome you all to our meeting tonight, and Clerk Zadowski is here and she will take our roll call.
Member Durkee. Present. Member Kirby's excused. Member Laffer-Kemp. Here. Member Lofall.
Here.
Member Oswald.
I'm right here.
I am here. Member Sandholm.
Present.
Superintendent Magus.
Present.
Assistant Superintendent Bonds.
Present.
Deputy Clerk Zunich. Present. Executive Director of Human Resources and Operations. Present. Board Secretary McKett. Here. And let's see, Student Representative Lauren Molitor. Here. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Oswald, or Clerk Zadowski. We do have a quorum, so we are going to item number 3 on our agenda. Are we going to cast our agenda on the screens or not? I guess not. Okay. So we are number 3, the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise if you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Again, board members, you've had the ability to have our agenda and all of our handouts and presentations in front of you for a few days, so I'm looking for an approval for our agenda.
So moved.
We have Member Lafler-Kemp making a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Member Sandholm seconds. Are there any additions or issues with the approval or with the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. That brings us to number 5, our school and community recognition. And so I turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Bonds. Thank you.
Thank you. And please. Good evening, everyone. Members of the board, this evening I'd like to present and bring to your attention the exceptional achievement of our Duluth East High School track team. Just 1 week ago, this team achieved a remarkable milestone by shooting perfect scores or 5 perfect 25s in their competition. This outstanding accomplishment deserves recognition and celebration. Members of the track team who are here this evening with their coaches have demonstrated unwavering dedication, rigorous training, and exceptional teamwork, which has resulted in their remarkable performance. Tonight, we would like to recognize Bo Rula, Liam Sanoa, Anya Davis, Seiji Sadu, Caleb Brinkles, and the coaches, Mona Campbell, George Pappas, Hamilton Smith, and Jeff Winkles. Their commitment to excellence not only reflects positively on our district, but also sets a standard for sportsmanship and skill in our community. It is vital that we acknowledge and celebrate their accomplishments publicly. By recognizing our track team's perfect scores, By recognizing our track team's perfect scores, we not only celebrate their achievements, but also inspire other students to strive for excellence in their respective endeavors. Their dedication to success is a testament to the values and principles we instill in each and every one of our students in Duluth Public Schools. Congratulations, team. We'd like to give the coaches an opportunity to share some insight as well as about the track team themselves.
Want to go first, Mom? Hi, I'm George Pappas. I'm one of the coaches from East, and this is Mona Campbell. She's the head coach. I just wanted to say a few things about the trap team. East has been involved for about 8 years. The Duluth schools both have been involved for about 8 years. I'm the president of the gun club, and so I'm involved with all the students that are involved there. I was the head coach and I stepped down, and Mona stepped up and took it and started running with it, and we've had some pretty good success. The league has been going since 2007. It's USA Play Target League. In Minnesota, we've got over 13,000 kids shooting trap, more than playing hockey. So it's something that all kids can do. Here we're honoring the kids that are shooting 25s. We've got kids that are special needs kids, kids that we don't have it here, but there is wheelchairs. All athletes get to do it, and the great thing about it is there's no bench warmers. They all compete, their scores all count. It's a whole team scoring system. It's really a good thing. We're making some good people out of these kids. And that's the important thing. Not only that, they're staying in school. It's important for them to shoot and be part of a team. They wouldn't have that option if we didn't have this trap shooting. So I hope you guys recognize this here and have the passion that I do towards it. I would like to see the schools help a little bit more with the coaching, finances, everything is self-pay for the kids. There's nothing coming from the school. So you guys recognize them as a team. They use the school name and they get letters and that part of it. But somewhere down the line, I'd like to see you guys step forward and help finance this here to a point where we got some help with the coaching and help with the other things. I'm also a head coach for Lake Superior College. And, so my roots are real deep in this, and my passion is deep. But from there, I'm going to let Mona talk about the athletes and how their accomplishments are.
We have an amazing group of athletes, and I'm blessed to be able to coach them. Even just tonight, we got these athletes through doing their competition tonight, and Seiji goes and shoots another 25 for us. Yeah. They all work so hard, they're all so respectful, and for a sport with firearms, they all know that the safety is number one and nothing else would be tolerated, and we don't have any issues. This sport, since its inception with the high school clay target league, has 0 injuries, despite the massive amounts of high school athletes that we have competing in it. It has had 0 injuries since it was started. So, but yeah, these athletes are just amazing. All these athletes were on our spring team. Also in spring season, East Trap Team took first place in its conference. They also, we also had Bo Brula. He tied for second place Top Gun male for conference. Anya Davis was second place Top Gun female for conference. Our conference in spring had 438 athletes. We have an amazing group of skilled athletes with the East Trap Team.
Would the athletes like to share anything? Or if not? Congratulations again. Quickly take a picture, and I'm pretty sure the board will have to.
Caleb? Liam?
John, do you want to do it, boys?
You can give us.
I think we need to squish a little bit more. George, you're not in there. All right. Smile, and pick up you. Thank you.
Stay here for a second for mom.
One more
One more picture?
Oh, we're trying to take pictures.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll come to you.
Darren's like, it's gonna be a lot of conversation. Crazy family. No, I say.
Your conference is determined by the size of your teams.
Thank you.
Another engagement. Ready to take
Thank you again, congratulations, and thanks for coming. Our school and community recognition is always one of the highlights of a board meeting as well, and so we appreciate the work that goes into all of the communication and getting our recognized people here, and being able to showcase some of the community and students as well. That leads us to number 7 on our agenda. It's reading, communications, and petitions, and we have none. So we're going to go on to number 7. Oh, number 6. I always skip that. Number 6 is our public comment. So again, this is an opportunity for our community to come and share ideas, successes, challenges, information to members of the board and the administrative team. And so it's important for us as Duluth School Board to continue to offer this opportunity for community members to come before the board. It is a very appreciative and a very important part. Our mission, it goes along with our mission for every student, every day, will be empowered with learning opportunities for growth, creativity, and curiosity in preparation for their future in a global community. Our vision is that Duluth Public Schools provides an academically engaging, safe, and inclusive environment with high expectations and responsible use of resources. And we have core values. We have core values of learning, excellence, equity, collaboration, and belonging, all important to having a healthy and a vibrant Duluth Public Schools. In our board meetings, we offer the Civility Code, a project that was developed with community input and continues to this day to be a part of many forums and many business and many opportunities for meetings in our community. They follow the Civility Code. This school board recognizes 11 tools of civility that will provide increased opportunities for civil discourse in order to find positive resolutions to the issues that face our community. These tools that we use include: we pay attention, we listen, we're inclusive, we don't gossip, we show respect, we're agreeable, we apologize, we give constructive criticism, we take responsibility, we're honest and we care for others, and then we also do a great deal of research to show our evidence and share our reasonings. So next I'll turn over to Clerk Sadowski, and she gives some general guidelines for our public comment. Thank you.
Yep, these are some public comment guidelines, just information to know when you sign up to speak at one of our board meetings. So persons wishing to address the board will sign up before the board meeting, listing their name and the manner on which they will speak. If you have handouts for the board, please give them to the school board secretary right here. Persons wishing to address the board will speak in the order in which they signed up. Persons addressing the board will have 3 minutes total. When speaking, the use of names or any information that identifies a specific individual is prohibited and you will be asked to end your comments. Persons addressing the board may not merge their time in order to allow one person to speak more than 3 minutes. The clerk of the board will, I'll start the stoplight timer at the start of each person's time, and that'll be right here. Green means go, yellow means wrap up, and red means stop. When the red light comes on, Chair Lofall will gavel to signal you to end. Persons addressing the board shall combine their comments to matters pertaining to the agenda or other matters relevant to administrative concern. And in the interest of respect for every public comment speaker, please hold any commentary during the speaker's time till they are finished.
With that, I call up the speaker and then I kind of do an on-deck talk about our speakers. And so our first speaker is Chris Marrett, and on deck is Harry Welty.
Thank you, everyone. I'll get to the introduction, but I don't want to waste any more of my 3 minutes. Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sports create hope where there was only once despair. That was Nelson Mandela. I want to share a portion of a letter that was written to the administration. When our daughter was in 2nd grade, we moved to Duluth. It was a difficult transition for her. She had been in 5 different schools by the time she was in 2nd grade. The staff and teachers at Piedmont were to be commended for their caring, encouraging attitudes and for their personal assistance. There are 2 teachers we feel especially outstanding. The first made an extra special effort, to involve her. He spends a good share of his free time coaching different sports, and he has always been available to talk. He made sure she was involved before and after school so that she would not be alone. He really went the extra mile for us, and his counsel and caring was invaluable. My husband and I wish there was some way to let these men know what an inspiration they have been to us as a family. We told them personally we felt administration should know that you have some teachers who are really super, who go above and beyond their calling to help families stay together and cope. Please let the school board and the superintendent know how very impressed we are and grateful we are. That little girl is me. That coach saved my life. I am Chris Mallett. I am the director of the Rookie Basketball Association here in Duluth, Minnesota. I give you a packet of information, looks like this, with a ton of information about our program and what it does in the community. I want to share with you that since 2012, when I started filling in, which is a longer story, which you can find me to talk about at a different time. Since 2012, we only had 1 school that we used in the district at that time. By 2019, we used 11 schools and had 76 court hours within the district. Last year, we only had 7 schools for 40 hours. This upcoming year, due to restrictions by the district, RBA has only been granted to Lakewood and Homecroft for a combined total of 8 hours. Because of this change, for the first time outside of COVID, we're having to restrict capacity limits for winter programming. We are having to restrict the opportunity for hope for kids like me, whose lives were changed because of sport. There are multiple issues on the packet that I've shared, talking about what our program does, like I said. And we have over 100 volunteer coaches that work with our program. And we have around 700 kids that come through our program and register and participate and have the opportunity to learn teamwork, respect, integrity, all of those values that are beneficial on and off the court, in the classroom, in the community, in the neighborhood. And those are the things that we want to share with our community. And I just want to make awareness that not only is basketball not always the priority during school season, or during winter season for basketball, but it isn't always the kids that get priority for scheduling. Our program isn't a school program. It is something that does impact all of the kids that are in our district. It is an opportunity for them that gets them out of trouble, like myself, and into something that's positive and grows them for better things. So thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Our next speaker is Harry Welty. On deck is Francis Wittenberg.
I'm a little taller. Does my voice go down to the microphone so far below my chin?
It's good.
Thank you. I trust your opinion, Chair Lowfall. You know something about speech tournaments. I perhaps could have put a somewhat different topic here on my address, Chair and board members. Perhaps bullying would have been a little bit better. I do have to be supporting one person for the school board because of a very long friendship that I've had. And I will do my best to say my friend when the name that I wrote and included for your perusal is spoken. We'll say this. I think there are two very good candidates running for this particular position. And I will have no trouble with anybody in this particular race winning, so long as it's a fair race and bullying is not a part of it. But Facebook has changed the tone of this in a number of ways. I wish it was unnecessary for me to be here tonight to defend my friend and your colleague, a former student of mine. She is under attack for having asked a fair question, but she asked it on Facebook, and as we have seen in some corners of the world, like Bangladesh, such messaging can lead to genocidal riots, and it seems that Duluth may not be immune from this dark side of Facebook. I just returned from Washington, D.C., where I showed my grandsons the wonderful memorial for Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. By the way, I've written about it in the next reader if you're interested. King's allies in the civil rights movement helped integrate my high school in Topeka, Kansas. His message of love even extended to his fiercest enemy, the infamous Alabama Governor George Wallace. The elderly Wallace, bound to a wheelchair because of a would-be assassin, had apologized for his past politics and his defiant words, segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. The new Wallace was embraced by King's followers as an act of Christian love. If King's disciples could forgive George Wallace, perhaps his admirers in Duluth should reevaluate their fury over the asking of a simple, if difficult, question. The question was, why would a person who sends their child to a private school campaign for a public school boarding seat? You don't have to look far to find out the nice things that I've said about my friend. But the ironic thing is that the person who seems to be instigating what I consider bullying of a particularly virulent and nasty nature said some very nice things, which you will find a little later on in my remarks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Frances Wittenberg, and after Frances is Ina Newton.
Good evening. Superintendent Magnus, Assistant Superintendent Bonds, school board leaders, educators, school administrators, and more importantly, parents and families. My name is Frances Wittenberg. I'm a proud mom of 3 ambitious children, 2 enrolled within the school district and 1 attending her second year at UMD. I'm a veteran, and most importantly, I'm a Duluthian and a community changing who passionately cares about the community I live in, where I continue to serve. As a concerned parent, I would like to understand the district's current and strategic priorities, none of which include parking lot safety. East High School parking lots I've been waiting to hear if there's any conversations taking place of how we can mitigate any risk and any safety issues in the Duluth East High School parking lot. So the question is, what's going on? Is this not a priority for the district? What exactly will it take for our district leaders to take an active approach to mitigate the congestion, avoid drivers going over 15 miles per hour speed limit in the parking lot, and ensure enough parking spaces for teachers, staff, and students? Is it because we have too many high school students enrolled in Duluth East? Should they be taking the school bus despite bus driver shortages? What exactly are we waiting for? More funding? Where is the line item in the fiscal year budget 2024 if we have enough money allocated? Or are we waiting for 1 or more employees or students to get injured? If we set a standard and expect our students and teachers to attend class safely and on time, Why have you yet to look into revamping or restructuring the traffic flow around Duluth East High School? I recommend each school board leader to visit Duluth East every morning for a week, and just a recommendation, and to prove me wrong. If you don't foresee a problem or don't think that there is a problem, I plan to collaborate with the school and with the board members to remedy this problem and ensure no lives are at risk or taken that could potentially lead to potential lawsuit. Have an open dialogue with your constituents and the school to ensure safety is a priority. Thank you.
Next is Ina Newton, and on deck is Rhett McDonald.
My name is Ina Newton. I use she, her pronouns. I am a parent volunteer who helps oversee the Denfeld High School Boys Basketball Hoops Club and Junior Travel Basketball Program. My eldest, Aiden, Altona, is a senior and one of the captains of the high school team. I will start off by sharing what I've already shared with the superintendent and vice superintendent and our athletic director. I am not here to complain about gym space or gym time. I am here to provide a voice to the impact that loss of gym time has had on our ISD 709 youth. At Denfeld, we are well aware of the instances of substance use, child abuse, homelessness, insecurities across the board that impact our youth and that burdens and overwhelms our district that I know you're actively working towards. And our program is trying to aid in being a resiliency factor for those kids. Currently, that is a threat where our travel program is unable to run any programs, and we're being advised to be sent to the East End to run our programs, which we know causes great disparities for our families. In addition, we also have a travel camp that we were hoping to run that would bring funding to offset costs for our families, and again, we're told that that needs to go to the East End as well, when the reality is there is no space in the East End. By providing this program, it helps kids gain needed skills that we heard from the trap team, we heard from Chris, that you all know, which is why you stand here today on the board. Myself, I left a domestic violence relationship with my son as a single parent and came here, and the program helped my son. He started off in RBA. He moved to the travel program, and now he's a high school senior that nobody ever recognized what we've been through. And I think it's so unfair that our story is not unique to most of the kids that we serve, but their experiences may be different, that they may lose on those resiliency factors, that our coaches and our volunteers that put so many hours into caring for these kids and providing services and cookouts and transportation and letting them travel across the state will not get the opportunity that my son had. He was at a prospect camp this week. He has 4 different colleges recruiting him right now. He is looking forward to prioritizing education alongside his biggest resiliency factor, and I think it's really unfair that we do not get any communication as to what's happening and how this is being prioritized, even though I know that I'm sure there is. But this gym space is bigger than just bricks and mortar. It is what our children need for resiliency and to bring community together, to bring families to be able to watch their kids in a positive outlet. We had our first year at high school, we had an all African American staff at Denfeld that has provided much more diversity and representation for our kids, and now they are being looked at as not credible and not being able to trust because we can't even tell them when we're running this program. We can't let them know that we do know what we're doing, even though we are a bunch of volunteers, where we don't really know what we're doing. And all we just need is a little bit of communication, action plans, and support. So thank you.
Rhett McDonald, and on deck is Carl Sack.
Hello everyone, I'm Rhett McDonald. I'm a teacher here in the district, teaching at Lincoln Park the last 12 or so years, and I'm also the head boys basketball coach at Duluth East High School. I'm representing a head coach's perspective at East High School. This would also include the girls basketball program and our volleyball program, who are in similar positions right now. Coaching within the largest class in the state is a really hard job, and I think those 2 other coaches would really agree with that. Our numbers are less, the travel is a lot more, and our facilities are usually a lot more limited as well. As a coach, I signed up for that challenge to coach one of the smallest schools in the top class in the state against some of the very top talent in the state. The most important part of our basketball program is our travel team program. It's not the practice plans, it's not the strength and conditioning, it's not the off-season support, it's all of the work that a lot of these volunteers do throughout the months of November to March. In a normal year, our coaches work with our close to 100 participants in grades 3 through 8 during the months of November to March. Our coaches have practices twice a week and dedicate their weekends mostly to spend in the Twin Cities coaching against some other very good kids and families. My dad is a high school basketball coach in Cambridge, Minnesota. He's been there for 40 years. My brother is a high school basketball coach in Forest Lake. My cousin is a high school basketball coach in Minnetonka. When I ask my family if they deal with the same situation of gym times, the answer is no. And the common denominator in terms of what their district has moved to, especially after COVID, is hiring more site supervisors to allow more people to come into the district. I am uncertain what our district says in terms of the custodial contract. I certainly have not read in much into that. We all know the importance of youth sports and the roles in the lives. Ida did a very good job of describing that. We know that finding custodians and other supervisors to host our youth teams has been challenging. We know that all of you have heard that challenge and that you're working hard to find a solution. I guess my only hope is that we find a solution for more additional time, not only this year, but moving forward in the years to come. And I would be happy to be a part of that process. Like I said earlier, we signed up for the challenge of coaching. But I think that we, as head coaches, would all appreciate if this problem of reserving gym time wouldn't be a common issue year after year after year, and there would be a more sustainable solution in the future. Respectfully, thank you for your time.
And our final speaker is Carl Sack.
Greetings, members of the board. My family is a proud Lowell Elementary School family, member of the Lowell School community. My older son has been in the Masabi-Kan Ojibwe language immersion program. This is his third year in the program. He's going into third grade, and we now have our younger son entering kindergarten in the program. And part of what's worked so well for us, we love Lowell, we love the community, and part of what's worked well for us is having high quality after school childcare through Key Zone. We are a 2-adult family where both adults work outside the home, and sometimes at home, but we work. And that child care piece, that after school care piece has been critical for us as a family. This spring, I made the catastrophic error of accidentally waiting 2 hours, not 2 days, 2 hours after registration opened to sign up for Key Zone. And we're still on the waiting list. A month into the school year, almost. And we've gotten very little communication unclear communication as to when that will open up, and contradictory messaging from school district staff and school board members on what the problem is, whether it's lack of adequate staffing or whether it's a more inbuilt systemic problem whereby the district doesn't feel it's your responsibility to provide after-school child care for all the working families in the district who need it. And we're very fortunate in that we do have some flexibility in our work schedules. I'll tell you a little bit about what it's been like for us though. It's been every week so far of the school year, we've scrambled to, we've had a different schedule, after-school schedule. Are the kids going to go home with a friend? Are they going to ride the bus? Who's going to take off work in the afternoon to be with them? And we're fortunate and privileged to be able to do that, but I know we are not the only family in this situation. We signed up 2 hours after the deadline, and I know anecdotally there are numerous families at Lowell who are still on that waiting list for after-school care. And some of them may not have the flexibility in their work schedules. So we're talking about parents who may be losing income, and that affects the economy of the district. We need this problem to change. We need after-school care at Lowell.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment for tonight. And so thank you all for sharing concerns and coming forward. We really appreciate your presence here. Moving on to our agenda, we are on number 8, the report of the superintendent, and under that we have reports from our school board reps. They have the superintendent's report, and we have just a quick review of schedule of meetings and events. So Superintendent Magus, if you want to introduce our student speakers and our student reps and get them to decide who's gonna share first.
Ms. Molitor, you want to start? Elsa Priest from East.
And make sure your mic is on.
I have it on my phone today. My Chromebook's not available, so I hope that's all right. But so the beginning of the school year has been a blast at East. We just had our welcome back dance and football game, and it was really fun. The dance had really good turnout. We had almost 600 kids, which is not usually what we have, so that was really fun. And the boys football team has been going well as well. They have a home game this Friday at 6. Other sports are in full swing, volleyball and boys soccer, and then cross country. Girls soccer has a game tonight, and cross country has a meet in Grand Rapids. And then boys soccer has a game this Thursday at East. 2 new teachers joined us this year in choir and orchestra, and both of them have been very fun in class, and the students have been loving them. There's an orchestra retreat on Friday at East, and the first concert is coming up on Wednesday, November 8th. Dr. Aldridge, the violin chair from DSSO, came into the lesson for the orchestra today as well. Our new student government format has been going well. We're all been getting together as a 6-hour class and just working hard together to get all our events together. Mean Girls, the musical, is going to be going on from the 26th to the 29th of October. And a big change this year at East has been the no phones policy. So that has obviously really affected day-to-day life. Some students have actually expressed how much they've been enjoying it, how it's been helping them to focus a lot and really connect with their fellow students. Teachers have also been saying how they really like it because it's really like pointing people's attention onto them. Obviously, a lot of people also don't like it. Some students have had concerns over safety, like what would happen if there was a lockdown or an emergency and you need to contact your parents. That's one thing I think people have been saying a lot. And then some teachers, I think, maybe are having issues with previously having students use their phone in classes for like timers or calculators or for things like journals in the yearbook where you're wanting to record interviews and just trying to adapt for that. And yeah, so we're figuring that out. A lot of students have said they feel that it would be more practical to have phones allowed only at lunchtime so that you could communicate with others during that time halfway through the day. Yeah, so we're getting used to that. And then the one other commentary that I've received a lot is that the hallway seems super crowded this year. Definitely a lot of traffic jams, maybe that weren't there last year. And that's my report.
Okay, Representative Molitor.
Falls of Denfeld have been filled with excitement as we launched back into the routine of being back in school. Students and teachers have been adjusting to the new policies, such as the new Away for the Day policy, which has been a big transition, but teachers have handled it with grace. Fall sports are up and running again, and the 100 Pride at Sporting events has been contagious. On September 8th, we celebrated the renaming of our stadium from Public School Stadium to Walt Hunting Stadium Marv Hegnan Field, with a community celebration and a football game against Grand Rapids, which we won. On the same Friday, the class of 2024 was surprised by the underclassmen. Due to COVID, the senior class never got to experience the Denfeld tradition of High Day. Well, that just didn't sit right with underclassmen, many of which had their High Day put on by members of the senior class. As As a member of the senior class, I can assure you that it was a heartwarming moment for all of us. To see everyone come together to surprise and celebrate us was truly special and something we won't be forgetting anytime soon. This Friday, we'll be celebrating the freshmen with their High Day celebration. Next week is our homecoming. Ballots were sent out to the senior class on Monday for them to vote for members of the class to be on the homecoming court. They will be announced on Friday during the High Day Assembly, and the pep rally and coronation will follow on the following Thursday and Friday. That's all we have for Denfeld at the moment.
Thank you very much. Those are great reports. It's always wonderful to hear the positive comments and thoughts about the start of the school year. And it's one of the things I look forward most at our school board meetings, and I know many others feel that way as well. So as far as just launching into things, we always take a quick look at our mission, our vision, our core values. As we start our meeting, those are really important for us to reflect on. Thanks again for your student reports. And I have three main topics to talk about during my superintendent's report today. First, we go with the student reports, but then talking a little bit about the launch of the school year. And I know that there have been some positive things and some things that we're working on. Also some updates related to the referendum that we have moving forward for November 7th is our referendum. And then some information on my superintendent evaluation, which we just concluded in closed session a few minutes ago. So launching the school year, there are always things that go well. There are always some things that are a struggle. 15 schools and over 8,000 students and 15,000 staff members. It's a complex organization, and we try to make sure that we handle things with grace, with support, and we always recognize too if there are issues that come forward, we try to address them holistically too. So some of the highlights that we saw this year were really moving forward with that strategic roadmap. This is the first year that we've had a clear strategic roadmap and operational plan in the past few years, and that's focusing on supporting every student, advancing equity, and improving systems. We also started with our new elementary schedule, which is allowing for better instruction. It's allowing for a better rotation of our specials, and which allows for more time for teachers to prepare and just a better flow to the year. It's something that I heard had been worked on for years and years and had been a challenge for years and years. So I'm really grateful for Director Sparks and the team that worked together on that for that change. Also, this is the first year that all of our schools are positive behavior intervention and support schools. That's a huge deal to have the same behavioral framework, the same support structures, and making sure that we're providing for the behavioral needs of our students very similarly at each of our schools. Differences, of course, based on the different needs of the schools, but there's also that opportunity to make sure that people have similar supports building to building. We also completed our move here. This is our second regular school board meeting here at the District Services Center, and we think it's a much improved opportunity for us, certainly better than where we have had to conduct some of the smaller meetings at UHG. It's been great to be out in schools, but it's nice to have their school board meetings here with good sound systems and good opportunity there, as well as being a great professional learning location. As you can see from this location, it can be split into 3 different areas, and frequently throughout the day, it's really exciting to come through and you can peek into the classrooms and see tens and hundreds of teachers and others going through training at various times, just learning different things throughout the district or having meetings, and it's just been really positive. And then also that we're fully staffed with our certified, which are oftentimes licensed staff when we think of teachers and social workers and administrators, everybody who has a license. We were fully staffed for those positions this year. We do have some struggles too, however, with our non-certified staff, looking at how we're better than we have been. When we look at custodians have been a huge need, bus drivers have been a need, food service and paras, but we're doing much better than we have in previous years, and I want to say thanks to Executive Director Severance for that work as well as with her team. And then thinking about our food service, we've had, this is the first year that we've launched in with universal free meals, and we've had really expanded participation. So we know when there's over 1 million meals served here a year by Duluth Public Schools nutritional staff, to know that that's increasing even more. We know that our kids are getting fed throughout the community. And so those have just been a few of the highlights, but really it's those small moments when you're walking through the hallways, when you're listening to kids and you're listening to teachers, and just the conversations you see, when you see the light above students' head go on, that's really the best things about the start of the school year. We have had some challenges, and if there's anything that any members of the team want to address related to things too, feel free to share. We did have some transportation challenges, and we talked about that a little bit at the committee of the whole, that we switched to a new routing software. We've also had limited drivers and buses, and so that as well as some new personnel, that kind of trifecta of challenge created some bumps in the figurative and literal road for us. But we are in a much improved situation than we were at the beginning of the year. And I want to say thanks to the team. We believe in when we make a mistake, we need to fail forward. And really there was a lot of work done, people working 17 hours a day through the weekends to repair that situation. And really how we're going to learn from those things to move forward is really, really important. We also, when it comes to limited access to facilities, we heard even tonight in public comments some concerns about limited gym space, and I know that our assistant superintendent and our coordinator for community education, as well as our athletic directors and facilities crews, are working diligently on that. I know that there are some solutions in store. They probably won't be perfect solutions, but I want you to know that it's something that my team is going to work very, very hard on. And if there's anything else anybody needs to share, that's fine too. Also, adjustments to new procedures. I was waiting to see how many people we maybe had that were coming upset about the cell phone waive for the day policy, but we're hearing some positive results, and I think that's something that I feel like sometimes we believe we can't live without our phones, but then we do, and we find that our lives are a little more rich and a little more present. And I think that that's what our students and staff are starting to see too. Of course, it's not easy. There's a lot of need for cell phones and communication, so we don't take it lightly. We also want to think about if there are students with special needs that have special requirements for having a phone or using an app for calling or things like that we have some exceptions as needed as adaptive technology. Maybe there would be an opportunity if people are doing yearbook that they have some sort of limited access, or they can have a press pass card or something like that. But I think it's important for us as we look at things, we really are on a journey of continuous improvement. And they say continuous improvement is never a straight line. It'd be nice to say you go from bad to good to great, but sometimes there's dips in the road with learning, and I think that's what is part of running a complex organization and starting a school year. But I would say overall, it has been a wonderful, wonderful start to the school year. Not because the pandemic has been largely behind us. We know that we are needing to make sure that we're following safety protocol. We're going to be sharing new information as well on the new vaccines, and we highly encourage people to stay vaccinated and follow normal health protocol as recommended by the CDC. So those are things that we are focusing on as we move forward. But it's felt much more normal, which is part of the reason why we want to make sure that if there are things that are things that we can improve on, that we're able to do so. As far as the next category, Future Forward, our referendum work. November 2023 is our referendum, and that will be November 7th, as you know. There's our futureforward709.org website as well that you can learn more about. And I shared last time, but I think it's important to remember that residents will vote on a 2-question referendum during Tuesday, November 7th election that would, if approved, would provide the district with $7.9 million each year. So that's nearly $80 million over the course of 10 years to protect and strengthen academic and mental health supports, expand and enrich high school curriculum, and invest in technology to help students. We're going to be sharing more at a press conference on Thursday about this as well. But basically, we've had quite a bit of COVID funding for the past 3 years that has allowed us to provide in ways that we hadn't been able to provide before, to provide one-to-one devices for kids, to have reading interventionists and math interventionists and mental health practitioners. Those are all things that when the funding is ending on June 30th, that will be affected. And so it's important for us to make sure that we're thinking, how are we taking care of our long-term goals, not just our short-term goals, but how do we plan into the future? And I want to say thanks to Executive Director Zunich for her work that she did this year in putting in place a 5-year budgeting forecasting software that's allowed us to better forecast for the sunny days as well as the rainy ones. But with that referendum, it's really a community-wide decision. It's not something that I can say vote yes or vote no on. It's really something that our district goal is to make sure that everybody has the facts about the referendum, and then they can make their choice on how they want to vote on election day or before election day. So just for the board and community, what have we been doing to make sure people are informed? If it's our job to inform people, here are some things that we're focusing on. As I mentioned, we have a press conference this Thursday at 11 a.m. here, actually probably right here in this space. We also have had a social media campaign, and if people want to spread the word about the referendum, reposting our social media posts can be a way that just gets the message out. Again, it doesn't matter if people are yes vote or no vote, but getting information into people's hands so that they understand things is really a fair way to proceed. We also have been having staff informational meetings, going to each of the sites, meeting with the staff, answering questions, providing handouts and sharing information there. We've had parent-teacher association meetings, was just at Lakewood last night, and it was great. There were almost 30 parents there for our Lakewood meeting. It's great to see a robust parent group there. Also outreach to other groups, so meeting with Rotaries, meeting with there will be a forum for the Duluth Chamber of Commerce, I believe October 3rd it'll be coming up, so it'll be an opportunity for the entire chamber to work with us. And I'm actually a member of the chamber board now, because really when we think about, not only does Duluth Public Schools prepare our workers of the future, it also, Duluth Public Schools is the 4th largest employer in the city. So we have a responsibility to make sure that as part of the economic engine of Duluth, that we participate in boards and those actions like that. Newsletter updates. Each week we have our newsletter updates. I didn't shower people with too much referendum information in the first week because it was all about getting back to school and celebrating that. But this past week I shared considerable information about that, the referendum. And then television and print media opportunities. I did a letter, an op-ed for the Duluth News Tribune, and I welcome other opportunities to share information through those areas. Then we have our Future Forward website, and I think I'm going to have to uncast here for a second to show you. So it'll take just 1 sec. So we have our Future Forward website here, which is linked on all of our school sites. Up on top, you'll see that there are various tabs that give you all the information that you might need. Including this tab, so there's the challenges, what is it that we're facing now? The plan, how are we addressing it through our 2-part question, how we got here and what led to this referendum. But the cost piece has a tax calculator where you can calculate what is the cost for me or you as a taxpayer on your residence. So it's not based on just random facts, like $283,000 is the average home price, and that equals to about $11 and change per month in tax. So that allows you to really look into that, as well as a tab for voting information, frequently asked questions, and other information right there on the website. And then I have, that's the wrong PowerPoint.
Great.
As you might have seen, I have a horrible disease called tabulitis, which is when you have way too many tabs open on your computer. So I apologize for that. But I'll show you our video that we have This is a draft. So in the draft, you'll see I've got started here. And it's casting on DSC board book, but it's not showing. Maybe if I refresh, one sec. Nope, we're gonna have to wait. That was just a teaser. We're actually gonna show the video at our press conference, so until we get that fixed, you'll have to live in deep suspense as to what that video is about. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I apologize for the technical error. All right, so those are some of the ways that we're getting our information out. I was excited to show that. We have a lot going on to get that going, but you'll have to see it as we share it out. So the third piece of information is my superintendent's evaluation. So we met yesterday, or not yesterday, it seems like yesterday already, but we met an hour or so ago. See, you get all flustered once the technology becomes an issue. But we have met for my superintendent evaluation. And the superintendent evaluation is based on the Minnesota School Board Association document, a goals and standards-based superintendent evaluation, a resource for school board members and superintendents, which is a long title, but a great little booklet that helps us with what are the best ways to make sure that the evaluation goes smoothly. How do we make sure that we do things fairly? And within that, there's a rubric that has many different types of things, standards for superintendents, and those are state recognized. And from those, I chose 3 different goals, one focusing on strategic planning, the other focusing on budget development and maintenance, and the third focusing on relationships within the community. And so those were really the three areas, and this is how they're defined. So school district, so those 3 areas that we talked about, strategic planning, budget development and maintenance, those formed the relationships with the community is the third one. But then for this next year, we'd be continuing basically all the work on the levy and bond. That's basically bond and levy campaigns is going to be my goal for this year, as well as visibility and approachability. I've tried to be out there as often as possible. Last year I did coffee and conversation. I've done the unity and the community events. Lots of opportunities, but I want to be out there even more. And then finally, school improvement. Underneath the school improvement goal is a deep focus on school improvement plans. I think it's one thing to have that district plan, but how do the school improvement plans interface with the district plan? Those are really important. And so that's my goal for the coming year. And Chair Lofold, I know you wanted to say a couple things about the evaluation as well.
Again, I want to thank Superintendent Magus for a really well-constructed summary of things that led to a goal that he and all of us. We had a mid-year evaluation on these same goals about 5 months ago, and now we are at this point where we're looking again at the 3 goals and the subdivisions and the support, the items that have happened in our district that will show that that goal has been worked on and created and effective. So again, we had a very strong and positive opportunity to work through the goals, work through the narratives and the documents that Superintendent Magus supplied for all of us. We had time over the last days to read and reflect and make note of our own observations. We spend a lot of time together as a board with our superintendent in a variety of ways, so we were just really appreciative. I appreciate the input that other board members shared with us and with Superintendent Magus. And we studied and we reviewed and we just really had great conversation about the successes still the challenges. I love Superintendent Magus's reflection on another part of his report called, when we want to go forward, we want to learn from the challenges and make improvements, and that nothing is ever perfect, I think, was one of my comments about the journey of continuous improvement also happens here on the board and in our self-evaluation process. I will, as a board chair, create a summary, and it will be presented at our next public meeting, and it will be in board book for our community to review as well. So thank you for a great process tonight, board members. And with that, our number 8, the report of the superintendent is complete. Again, board members, we've had a schedule of meetings and events that are coming up. And if we look at that, tonight we have our formal board meeting on the 21st on Thursday. It is our EAC meeting at 6 o'clock. It is at the District Service Center here. Member Zadowski, Member Oswald are formal members of a committee there, but also our Director Nick Smith and encourages other board members to stop by if desired. So that's Thursday at 6 o'clock here at the District Service Building. We have no meetings next week, and we return the first week in October for our policy committee and our committee of the whole meetings. So that's looking forward to our meetings. Any questions? Did I miss anything? Going on to number 9, it's the report of our standing committees. This is just an opportunity. We've had 3 meetings prior to this meeting, and now at this formal school board meeting, we will vote to approve the committee reports. And so we just review the meetings that we've had and share any questions or further dialogue on those meetings. So number 9A is the committee of the whole, and that's led by Assistant Superintendent Bonds. So I turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Bonds for just a review of the committee of the whole meeting, which happened on September 7th.
Thank you. And as I quickly pull it up, and I should have been ready, but here I am looking at other agenda items for my own committee. Let me quickly get where I should be here.
How many tabs do you have open?
I'm a bad role model.
So thank you. As usual, the Committee of the Whole is a committee where we spend a lot of energy focusing on teaching and learning, and so just wanted to acknowledge that. But there are also some conversations that occurred during that meeting, and quickly going to it. So we spent the first part of the meeting discussing the beginning of the school year and just how the opening day went for our staff and our families, also discussing the Union Community event, and just all of the things that schools did to get prepared for students and to welcome staff back. So we had a lot of discussion regarding that. The opportunities for our directors to provide a variety of reports. We had a report provided by Executive Director Mrs. Brenda Sparks, provided some insight related to the kindergarten readiness task force. She brought not only families but a young person with her as well, and they discussed how they are preparing kindergarten students in a different manner. So I really encourage the community to really take a look at the video and the discussion related to the kindergarten task force. We also had some information provided by the Booster Club. Executive Director Zunich provided some insight on the Booster Club guidelines, and there was some lively discussions related to it. It was very informative. I want to thank her for her work related to that. We also provided some information related to our recruitment efforts. It was provided by Executive Director Teresa Severance. There was discussions related to board enhancement of communication. There was some dialogue related to that, and if the board would like to speak to that, they can. We also tabled the concurrence, non-concurrence, just providing just a quick update related to it, but we will go deeper into the concurrence, non-concurrence during our October Committee of the Whole. The pretty much the entire teacher to learning equity team joined the conversation related to our student performance data and key initiatives. That was an opportunity for the teacher learning department to just provide a little bit deeper insight on our student performance as it relates to MCA testing and accountability system. And we also provided some information related to some of the strategies, initiatives, and efforts that we have underway to improve outcomes for kids. And so I want to thank the teacher learning equity coordinators and directors who were able to join that meeting and provide a lot of information. So again, just an opportunity for the community to take a look at the video and just listen in on those conversations for those strategies that were shared during that meeting. I want to make sure I don't miss any other keys. But those were the items for the committee of the whole. Thank you.
Any questions from board members on the committee of the whole? We could watch it if we wanted to. Again, it is September 7th. If you go to the Duluth Public Schools YouTube site, you can watch that meeting. It went about 2 hours. And from my, I was just really, really appreciative, and it was just another reminder of the student performance data and the key improvement strategies and efforts. That presentation that was led by a number of our staff leaders. The board heard information and got information about our data and our test scores and our MCAs, but what I thought was really the most relevant, and what I would encourage anyone here today to watch and to reflect on, is that we heard from a lot of our departments, from our elementary ed to our middle school to our secondary to our from our special education directors, from our safety and school directors and task. So we heard from a number of our really key leaders in our schools to make sure that even though we might see some challenges and some needs when we look at our students, we want every student to succeed every day. And again, it's under that kind of improving systems and enhancing our work together and inspiring students and supporting every student. So I appreciate that. Seeing no other questions? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for your words. I think you're speaking for all of us as board members, and how much we just greatly appreciated again the time of all of the staff that presented to us. We learn from that as well as school board members, but we do, as Chair Local said, we encourage the community you want to learn a lot about the many things that are happening in our school to go to that particular meeting, the committee of the whole, but any of our committee of the whole meetings where we as board members hear from staff, we ask a lot of questions, and it's after I leave a meeting like I did last on the 7th, I just, again, have so much appreciation for the many ways staff are juggling at the beginning of the year, but all year, and all the work that they're doing in the summer to get us off to a good start at the beginning of the year as well. So just again, thank you for getting all of the staff there, and please again share this thanks from us as a full board.
Thank you.
See no other lights on. I guess that's the best way we're going to be able to recognize whether we have a question or not, and then we have to kind of make sure that our mics are not covered by other things, so I can best see. We're all adjusting to this beautiful space, and we appreciate it. So our next committee to hear from is our HR Business Services, and Chair Eder will give our report there.
Thank you. We held this meeting on Tuesday, September 12th. We had no guest presentations for this meeting and moved right into the departmental reports. We started out with human resources, and when you can find all this documentation uploaded to BoardBook. When we look at our staffing updates through the incredibly hard work of Executive Director Severance, we are now, as of Tuesday, September 5th, all of our regular certified staff positions are filled, and that's really a counter narrative to what's going on in the rest of the state, where they're looking at teacher shortages through a lot of hard work at the district building and some innovative ideas. The only position that we are currently looking for is one long-term substitute for an MTSS coordinator. So I want to thank our staff and our administration for working diligently to make sure that our staff that we have the proper amount of staffing. Where staffing continues to be a challenge, and that you could see reflected in the community tonight, was our limitations when it comes to our maintenance worker. We only currently have 21 positions posted, where we have 13 filled, so we still are down on our maintenance staff members. So we encourage everybody to go out and rally around our Duluth Public Schools to get more people to come in and join our staff in maintenance, also for food services, and of course our bus drivers. Of the 126 posted positions for pairs, we filled 92, so we are still short on pairs, but we are working diligently. I encourage you to review some of the HR Business Services meetings to see the videos that we worked collaboratively with Story North Production, to follow these great current Duluth Public School staff members around to see what they do during the day. We looked at food service, we looked at a bus driver, we had a maintenance worker, and you can go and watch these videos and just see how they contribute every day to the education and the well-being and atmospheres that our Duluth Public School students live in our schools. On August 21st, we had a new hire orientation, and I know many of my fellow board members were there to attend. We had 109 new employees, so that's great to see. Our HR department, in its quest for continuous improvement, conducted a feedback survey for new hires so that we can continue to make those in-services productive time spent for our new hires. And also, when you really think about it, that's the first environment that they really have as new Duluth Public Schools employees, so we want to make sure their orientations are great. Let's see, our benefits. We also had a benefit department hosted a new higher benefits night on September 13th from 4 to 5, so that we could educate our new employees on the great benefits that we offer here in the Duluth Public Schools. We will be looking at, in not the consent agenda, but we will vote on our contracts for food service employees and paraprofessionals. We should be seeing our Duluth Principal Association and our non-cert business administrators will be coming up soon. I know those negotiations are getting close to being finished, so we will have 4 of those units settled, which is fantastic to hear. We also are in active negotiations with the Executive Employees Association and the Executive Directors Association. We are also in conversation with our Duluth Federation of Teachers on topics that we'd like to mutually bring forward and discuss. Lastly, we haven't had the district-wide Instructional Administrators Association have not quite yet requested to negotiate, but we look forward to those talks as they happen. Director Severance, did I forget anything? Are we good? Great. So that was our... Oh, sorry, Superintendent Vegas, you gotta throw something at me.
Sorry.
Okay, that's an invitation.
That sounds good. No, just kidding. As we're talking about human resources and we're talking about technology and such, I just wanted to say thank you to our technology staff, because today is Information Technology Professionals Day, and all the work that goes into making things work behind the scenes. There's a lot of magic when it comes to you all, and just want to say thanks and recognize you as part of. That's one of our reports that we have during HR Finance, and just wanted to make sure I threw in that word.
Thank you, Superintendent Magus. As we move on, we are now on our child nutrition report. And as Superintendent Magus updated us earlier, this is the first year where we have universal breakfast and lunch for our Duluth Public School students, and it's been going great. We had our head...
She's a coordinator.
Yeah, the coordinator of our nutrition department come in and speak about how well things are going. So that was great to hear. I know the reports from Piedmont Elementary and Denfeld High School is that lunch is great. So that's wonderful to hear. As we move back and think about the number of meals that we served over the summer, the total meals for breakfast that we served during the summer was 15,879, and for lunch, that total was 28,737. An average per day for breakfast was 361, and for lunch it was 684. So I want to thank our food service workers for providing those lunches for our Duluth Public School students and any child under 18 during the summer. We do still have a substantial amount of debt at $76,890, but I know our district is working with our families to clear that debt. Let's see, I know that now that we do have universal free meals this year, we're seeing an increase of about 225 breakfasts being served and an increase of about 600 to 700 students for lunch. So that's great to see our families taking advantage of our universal free meals. Our child nutrition will be reimbursed by the state and federal government. For each meal eaten, breakfast reimbursement is $2.28, and our lunch is $4.35. So it's great for those meals to be served to take a little bit of that financial burden off of our families in Duluth. That concluded the child nutrition report, and we moved on to the exciting world of facilities next. Our facilities and maintenance have been working very diligently to complete open work orders. And because our class has started, we know that we have more work orders, but our crew is doing a great job to try to clear those as they can. For our capital construction projects, Congdon Park field replacement is done. That was done on time and on budget. The project included removal of old soil, new drain tile, and all sorts of things, right? A new fence gate was added, and that will be installed in early September. Congdon Park also got a new playground. That was completed on time. We'd love to hear that, with new equipment and wood fibers installed by Flagship. So those are always part of our 10-year facilities planning, is that replacement of our playgrounds for our little scholars. Moving on to Lowell, the Lowell playground project was also completed on time. They got a new fence, new wood fibers was around the equipment, and of course new basketball courts with blacktop and backboards installed. We have some office build-outs that were occurring at Lowell, Denfeld, and Homecroft. Those were completed on time. Are we seeing a theme? We get things done on time. I love it. For the start of classes, and all spaces are ready to use and are currently being used. Not surprising to anybody who's been following the school board for the last 900 years, the PSS Track Lane 1 pond remediation is still ongoing. Construction tasks on the hill, we've gotten our departments here. There's still some interior work going on, but we're getting that finished. We're still looking for a little bit more furniture. And as you can see outside, our site is still working on final grading and additional topsoil, along with some trees and shrubberies being planted. We want to thank our building operations. They are working very diligently. We know that a lot of our custodial positions have been filled, but we're still looking for some engineers at Lowell and Myers-Wilkins. So if you know anybody, encourage them to apply. Second shift engineer positions are also open at Denfeld and Lincoln Park. Again, great places to work. We're also looking at Lakewood, Lester Park, Rockbridge, and this building as well. I just want to thank our building operations. They've worked really hard and made sure that our schools were in great shape for our scholars to come back for the start of the new year. That ended our facility department report. Moving on to technology. There's some general information about our Google security and how diligently we work to protect our families' personal information. You can see through news, if you've been following over the past year, some huge school districts like Minneapolis have been having some significant ransomware attacks that have cost the district quite a bit of money and also expose their families' personal information out in the world. We continue to work diligently to make sure that our technology is safe and secure for our students. Our technology help desk has seen an uptick in the number of tickets, but that makes sense as it's the new school year. We've got a few remaining summer projects done. I just want to bring everybody's attention to district-wide, we spent $2 million in classroom AV upgrades. That's 200 classrooms plus 21 portable smart display systems, and we are 90% done with that. And there's a new innovative system that Lester Park is going to be using. I encourage you to go on the web and look. It's just really, really cool, combining movement and education. That's 50% done. And then also on the technology report, you can see that Google has been helping us, or Google is telling us what our carbon footprint is as we use technology. I'm rolling.
Without throwing some,
Yeah.
you mentioned cybersecurity
Yep.
and how important that is. You mentioned the data leaks that we've seen in a number of districts throughout the state. Just wanted to mention that a big part of that technology referendum that we have is for cybersecurity, so it's not just devices. Just wanted to take the moment to throw that in.
Yes, thank you so much, Superintendent Vegas. Our technology referendum is multifaceted, and I look forward to having you share that with the rest of the community. Lastly, our transportation report. We did have a few, I wouldn't call them bumps in the road. I'd say we had some snarls, some significant problems that started out with our busing due to new software and probably moving and a whole bunch of other. I know that our administration and our transportation department worked hard to make sure and rectify those situations. We have made some changes as to who we will pick up to bus kids in order to make sure that kids are in the school so that we can teach them. That's another way that we're advancing equity, by changing the way that we bus. Assistant Superintendent Bonds, can you review how we've changed the busing?
Yes, thank you for that. One thing that we implemented this year was moving our high school students who had to walk 1.5 or 2 miles to school. We moved that to 1 mile. So all students across the district are now able to access our transportation or buses if they live less than or more than 1 mile away.
And we did that so we can make sure that our students can show up to their classrooms and get the information that they need. So thank you for making those changes.
Thank you.
I always love to look at our bus. Our bus's current average mileage is about 93,000, and we do have 2 new buses that came in. They're pretty cool, but we need to bring our average mileage down to about 50 to 60,000, so we have a little bit of a ways to go. And that concluded the transportation report. I know we have some recommended resolutions that the board will be voting on today. The acceptance of donations to the Duluth Public Schools, the acceptance of grant awards to the Duluth Public Schools, and I would just like Executive Director Zunich to talk a little bit about the wonderful news we got today about the maximum levy certification.
Thank you. It is one of the, thank you. It is one of the resolutions for you this evening. And just last night, we finally got hopefully our most current and final maximum levy from MDE. And as you know, the annual levy certification process is an important part of the school district. Yearly in September, we ask that you approve the maximum levy. Generally, we don't have a dollar amount tied to that, but I can provide a dollar today. And in December, we'll ask you to certify the final amount. So, and we'll also have the Truth in Taxation meeting in December, and at that time, we'll go through each and every line and we'll be way more specific. But right now, we are very pleased to announce that we are overall anticipating a less than 1% increase for the FY23 paid 24 levy. So I'm very happy. In alignment with our referendum ask, we're being very fiscally responsible. So it came in at 0.75. So I'm very, very happy about that. The increase from paid 23 to paid 24 is $329,900.39 for a total levy of $44,288,867.26. The general fund has an increase of $1,007,000, which is up roughly 10.64%, primarily due to legislative changes and inflation factors. We did have an increase of some student pupil count, but for the most part, it's legislative and formula changes. Community service has a decrease of $189,000 due to a formula change, and in December I'll go through all of that information. And the general debt service, we had a decrease of $1.2 million due to debt retirement. So that also helped reduce our overall levy. In December, as I discussed, we'll go through all the details at our Truth and Taxation meeting, and I'm asking that you please certify the maximum levy. And I just want to remind everyone, between now and the 30th of September, we could have some minor changes, but I don't really anticipate much right now. I think we'll stay where we are, right? And they'll probably do 2 or 3 more runs, but I think we're pretty close.
And that would be due to the software changes?
Always software. And they have new people working in that department as well, and new software changes, so everyone's facing the same thing.
Thank you, Executive Director Zunich. And I will make mention that we did not have an enrollment report this month, as we will start those again in October.
That's correct.
So, what we will be finding from the HR Business Services Committee meeting on our consent agenda, you can find the HR staffing report, finances, including our financial report, and the fundraising. It's always fun to look through the fundraising to see what our Duluth Public School students are raising funds for. If I can find it. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't find it right now. But I encourage you to go on BoardBook and take a look at those fundraising opportunities our students are doing. We have no bids, RFPs, or quotes, and we have a couple contracts that will be on the consent agenda, one with Viata Home Health Care and another one with Soylent Health. Those are related to services within the district. And then we have some miscellaneous informational items. We do have some expenditure contracts, some no-cost contracts, revenue contracts, and then also some grant applications. And that concluded our HR Business Services meeting. Thank you. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have just some comment too about, that's also a very important committee meeting, and the topics that we discuss at that committee, and then Chairperson Eder, you just really do a nice job. You did a nice job tonight, really hitting the key points of that meeting. I really have heard from some of our new teachers that our district has done such a great job of onboarding them, the benefits gathering, the new teacher orientation and the presentations there, just really made them appreciative of our district and the way that we've really brought them together. So I appreciate the work that goes in from the HR department, our new teacher, our new staff, orientation, benefits package presentations, and just the overall feel of welcome that they get from our district. I also just want to highlight too the universal meals that are now free, and it's free lunch, and it's free breakfast, and the amount of service. My question, Director Zunich, would be, so the cost for meals are $2.28 for breakfast and $4.35 for lunch. Is that what the new legislation that they passed for free meals, is that what they are reimbursing, and does that match the cost that we're paying for our meals?
That's a great question, and it is a reimbursement, and it is actually a little bit better than what we've been getting in the past. Usually they break down our reimbursement rates for kindergarten, free and reduced, all those different categories. And now they leveled the playing field, and now it's at $4.33. Sheila Oak, our food service director, is thrilled and very pleased with that reimbursement rate. So we anticipate that will really help us cover our meals, because we are exceeding our expectation, which is wonderful. And right now we are not even serving that second meal right now because we have unlimited fruits and vegetables, and we will be adding that as well, which is where mostly our debt comes, our meal debt comes from, that second line. So,
well, thanks for that clarification. That really that just lifts me up even more, and again a real shout out to our legislators for going with that universal free meals. And I really struggled whether, that was gonna be, really important for us to pay for, and that we wouldn't see, like, if Chair Heater is getting good feedback from people that she might have at Denfeld and Lincoln, that the lunches are substantial, well then, we'll have to hear from our student reports next month too about our lunch size and opportunity. And then we're still struggling with 76 and some more dollars from unpaid lunch debt. I know when you shared that, I don't know if you were as clear as, I want my community to know that that is an unpaid lunch debt from last year. And I know that we do send out letters and we try to recoup that, but a lot of times we do understand that we struggle in our community with just different financial structures, but it is 76,000 some unpaid lunch debt.
That's correct. The first year I was here in 2021, it was 23,000, and so it has really grown. And Sheila and her team have done a great job of sending out letters. It was 102,000 and it's down now to 76. They will continue to reach out to families, but we will have to take a hard look at that, at the end of the year.
And I did miss one thing for our consent agenda. On there, we do have a job description for educational technology and innovation coordinator. So you can find that description, that job description loaded up on Board Book.
And there, you did a nice clarifying job of that job description at your committee meeting. I don't have any questions. Does anybody else? Then our next committee report is from Chair Loeffler Kemp in Policy.
Thank you. And I want to just first state again that the policy meeting for September was on Thursday, September 7th at 4:30, and it is on YouTube for people to listen to. And I needed to listen to it because I needed to be at an event with my daughter that day. And so I thank Member Sadowski and Member Sandholm Member Sadowski for facilitating it, as well as for the good discussion and questions and the interaction with the staff, providing some insights on the policies as well. So thank you for that ahead of time. Again, just like evaluating the superintendent is a key role of a school board, approving policies is a key role of our job. And so this month, policies for our first reading, many times again, policies go through 2 readings, but for our first reading was policy 516, which was to replace policy 6180. And as you talked about in the meeting, this was brought to us actually in April, and there were some revisions that were made, and so appreciated Special Ed Director Jason Crane reviewing some of the changes that were made and the good discussion that happened with those changes, particularly around forms and around who administers medication. Those are some of the discussion. So this is our first reading, and again, the purpose of this policy is to set forth the provisions that must be followed when administering non-emergency prescription medication to students at schools. And like all of our policies, it has a purpose, it has a general statement, requirements, processes, and then also it reviews the legal references that we follow as a school district. So that policy had its first reading. And then we had a number of policies for a second reading, and, we had one policy for a second reading, and that was policy 904, and this is a distribution of materials on school district property by non-school persons. Last month, we had the second reading for a similar policy, but it was distribution by students and employees. And with this policy, again, the purpose of this policy is to provide for distribution of materials appropriate to the school setting by non-staff and non-students on school district property in a reasonable time, place, and manner which does not disrupt the educational program nor interfere with the educational objectives of the school district. And I appreciated the discussion that happened around that one, particularly changing a little bit of the language on the 5-day when materials needed to get to administrators within 5 days. So appreciated that discussion, and I agree with that discussion. And again, this is our second reading of that policy. Is there anything else, members that were at the meeting that you want to say about that? Okay, great. So that'll be on the consent agenda coming up. And then we had a number of policies for review, and when they're policies for review, it means we're just reviewing them, and they will be on the consent agenda. And these policies that are up for review all were because of legislative changes that then we needed to make as a district. So they're legal changes that the school board needs to make, and we can do that in a single meeting. And I really appreciate again Patty Goodcat for making sure we are really moving these policies as quickly as we can that had the changes from this legislative session. So thank you. So the first one was policy 418, drug-free workplace, drug-free school. The second one was policy 419, tobacco-free environment. Policy 513, student promotion, retention, and program design. Policy 509, enrollment of non-resident students, and then policy 516.5, overdose medication. And there was some good discussion on each of these policies. Appreciated the discussion around the last one with the overdose medication, which was a policy we actually just recently passed. We were really ahead of the state of other districts in moving that policy when it came to us earlier this year. But again, there were some legislative changes, so we are making those changes to meet the legislative changes. And then the last item on our agenda was regulations. And this, again, anytime regulations comes in front of our board, it's informational. This is the more detailed on how our policies are carried out in our school district. So this month, it was deletion of 6180, procedures of administration of medication during the school day. And I appreciated hearing Jason Crane again, just giving us some updates on the training that, by the way, has going on around these policies. So that was a quick summary of the policy meeting. And again, any other comments you want to make, that committee members?
Nothing bad. Thank you.
Good summary.
Okay, great. And again, many of these will be on the consent agenda, and the next policy meeting will be on October 3rd.
And that concludes the policy, and again, thanks to the policy committee. It is, like Chair Loeffler-Kemp said, a really important obligation and responsibility of a school board is to continue to know our policies, read our policies, update our policies, and then come and vote on them. So I appreciate that. And again, as we move to the consent agenda, those policies will be there as well. Number 10 on our agenda is general board committee updates. Is there any? Seeing none, we're going to go on to number 11, which is our consent agenda. So on our consent agenda tonight are all things that have been commented on. It's things like our regular school board meeting minutes. It is our special school board closed meeting on negotiations is on the consent. It is our HR staffing report. It is our educational technology and innovation coordinator's job description. It is our financial report with our report of our budget summary. It's our fundraisers. It's our healthcare contracts, 2 of them. It is also our a field trip approvals. It is our it's our policies that Member Loeffler Kemp just shared with us. And it is our, what else is it? It's our there's a lot of policies on our consent agenda, actually. And it is all of our committee reports, and that is what's on the consent agenda. I'm asking for an approval of the consent agenda.
So move.
And a second.
Second.
So it's been moved by Member Eater, it's been seconded by Member Loeffler Kemp. And all those in favor of the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Moving on to,
Member Oswald is no longer with us.
5.
oh, there's 5 of us, that's right. I knew that Member Oswald had also had to leave the meeting right now, so I forgot that Member Kirby's not here. So that brings us to resolutions that for transparency, and I just want to say too that our committees meet here in the district service office every month, and our public is welcome to attend our committee meetings. They're not, held during the day. They're held policies at 3:30 and the rest at 4:30. We invite community to come and be able to watch the work of the board. We're unique as a school district. There are school boards across the state that their committees are not as formal as ours, and they do the work, and then it's all brought to the school board's regular meeting. But Duluth has always had a structure of our committee meetings are robust, they are detailed, they are full of documentation that board members review and ask questions about, and I really appreciate the meetings and that they're held in the afternoon and in the early evening for our public to attend. And so with that, we are now at this resolution and committee reports. So we reread those aloud, also for more community recognition that these are the resolutions. They are on board book. So our first resolution, Member Zadowski will read into the record and the minutes, and it is also a roll call vote.
Yep, this is Resolution B-9-23-3982, the acceptance of donations to Duluth Public Schools. Whereas Minnesota Statute 465.03 requires the school district to accept donations by resolution expressed in the terms prescribed by the donor in full, and whereas acceptance of the donations in accordance with the donor's terms is in the best interest of the Duluth Public Schools, now therefore be it resolved that the Duluth Public Schools does accept the below described donations from said organizations in accordance with the terms set forth herein. Be it further resolved that the Duluth Public Schools wishes to extend its grateful appreciation to these various individuals and organizations. And I see a variety in here, from in-kind donations to contributions to football programs, unity in our community, and culinary arts. So I move B-9-23-3982.
Second.
And we need a roll call.
Yep, I'll do a roll call vote. Sorry about that. So, Member Jerpita.
Yes.
Member Loeffler Kemp.
Yes.
Member Lopel.
Yes.
I vote yes. And Member Sandholm.
Yes.
Perfect.
And so with that, we pass the resolution 5-0. Moving on to our next resolution, Member Loeffler Kemp.
I move resolution B9233983, This resolution is acceptance of grant awards to the Duluth Public Schools, whereas Minnesota Statute 46503 requires a school district to accept grants by resolution expressed in the terms prescribed by the donor in full, and whereas acceptance of the grant in accordance with the donor's terms is in the best interest of the Duluth Public Schools. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Duluth Public Schools does accept the below described grant from said organization in accordance with the terms set forth herein. Be it further resolved that the Duluth Public Schools wishes to extend its grateful appreciation to this organization. The first one is the Northland Foundation, and we are greatly appreciative of Jen Jaros, our staff, for offering this grant. It's for our prenatal, grade 3, early childhood, and curriculum departments, and the grant award was for $4,000. And a number of things fall underneath this, but one of the kind of main ones is funding will allow us to gather early childhood and kindergarten teachers, principals, and other leaders to learn and train in regard to intentional play-based learning in the classroom. But there's also additional training that falls under this grant, how this grant will be used as well. So really appreciate the Northland Foundation on that one. And the second one from the Northland Foundation, Cal Harris, is the author of it, one of our staff, and it's for Laura MacArthur, $6,500 for a field trip. So, thank you.
I'm looking for a second for that motion.
Second.
All those in favor of passing resolution B-9-23-3983, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries 5-0. Moving on to resolution number 3, Member Eater.
I move resolution B-9-23-3984, maximum levy certification, whereas the School Board of Independent School District number 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, will hold a regular school board meeting on December 19th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the board meeting room at District Service Center, 709 Portia Johnson Drive, Duluth, Minnesota 55811, and will receive input from the public on the proposed certification levy for 2023 payable in 2024. Therefore, be it resolved that the school board propose the ceiling for the tax levy for Independent School District number 709 for the 2023 payable 2024 at the maximum amount. Again, resolution B-9-23-3984.
Do I have a second for the motion? Second. For the motion, not the emotion. Could be. Member Zadowski, all those in favor of this resolution say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to resolution number 4, Member Sandholm.
I move resolution HR 9233985, Professionals Collective Bargaining Agreement. Resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, that the collective bargaining agreement between Independent School District 709 and paraprofessionals, a summary of which is in the hands of all school board members, be approved and adopted for the periods of July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2025, inclusive, and that the chairperson and clerk of the school board be hereby authorized to execute said agreement on behalf of the school district. Again, I move resolution HR 9233985.
Is there a second? Second. Member Loeffler Kemp seconds. All those in favor of the resolution for the paraprofessional collective bargaining agreement say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our last resolution tonight, Member Sandholm.
I move resolution HR 9233986, resolution food service employees collective bargaining agreement. Be resolved by the School Board of Independent School District number 709, St. Louis County, Minnesota, that the collective bargaining agreement between Independent School District 709 and food service employees, a summary of which is in the hands of all school board members, be approved and adopted for the periods July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2025, inclusive, and that the chairperson and clerk of the school board be hereby authorized to execute said agreement on behalf of the school district. Again, I move resolution HR 9233986.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Member Zadowski is a second. All those in favor of resolution for food service employees collective bargaining agreement, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That ends our resolutions and items under number 12 and number 13. That brings us to number 14. Any questions or other? Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Member Eater makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Member Sandholm seconds. All those in favor of adjournment say aye. Aye. Opposed? Our school board meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.